Congress receives Special Prosecutor Ken Starr's findings. The future of the Clinton presidency rides on the back of a van as boxes of Starr's conclusions, evidence, and accusations arrive on Capitol Hill for potential impeachment proceedings.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. It was a history-making day in Washington for Special Prosecutor Ken Starr, President Clinton, and the nation. Here's the latest. Starr's report tonight to Congress contains 140 pages of what Starr considers to be possible impeachable offenses, including the crimes of obstruction of justice and lying under oath. The president's lawyer insists there are no impeachment grounds. In his most extensive apology yet, President Clinton vows to, quote, redeem the trust of the American people. With the Clinton presidency hanging in the balance, congressional leaders are now considering how to proceed on Starr's findings. From Capitol Hill, CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer begins our coverage. Bob?
Dan, it had been expected, but even so, it was such a momentous event, it was still a little hard to believe. The extraordinary documents, 36 sealed boxes, including videotape of the president's grand jury testimony, arrive without notice and in a most ordinary way, in government vans. Until Congress can decide what to do with them, they'll be stored under heavy security in a building at the foot of Capitol Hill. The independent counsel spokesman described the transfer in a statement as dramatic as it was brief.
The Office of Independent Counsel submitted a referral to the House of Representatives containing substantial and credible information that may constitute grounds for impeachment of the President of the United States.
Only this morning, House leaders had met to decide how the report was to be handled. They agreed first it would be made public.
Our strong belief is that the public has the right to know, that both members and the public should expect that they will have access to the report.
Just when that will happen has not been worked out. In a letter delivered to Gingrich, Starr noted supporting documents contained information of a personal nature that I respectfully urge you to treat as confidential. House Democratic leader Gephardt said publicly what he had earlier told the president in private, that Democrats would put party aside and treat the report in a bipartisan manner.
Next to declaring war, this may be the most important thing that we do, so we have to do it right. We have to do it objectively, fairly, and in a nonpartisan way.
The president's growing troubles have left Capitol Democrats melancholy. Even as he urged colleagues not to rush to judgment, the Senate's senior Democrat worried about the impact the scandals were having on the country.
We seem to be living history all over again. Many of the mistakes that President Nixon made are being made all over again.
So now congressional staffers will work through the night drafting the rules that Congress will operate under as it handles this report. They have to have those rules, hope to have them ready by Friday so the full House can vote on them. Once the rules are approved, then lawyers on the Judiciary Committee will begin reading through this voluminous report to see if it does indeed contain information that would warrant holding impeachment hearings. Dan?
Bob Schieffer. For his part, President Clinton struggled to save and restore his presidency in public and private with a combination counteroffensive, apology, and damage control campaign. CBS News White House correspondent Scott Pelley has the latest on that. Scott.
Dan, sources tell CBS News that Ken Starr moved his report to Capitol Hill today because he was afraid the president's attorneys would try to block it with a motion in federal court. Now that the report has arrived, the White House is planning a vigorous counteroffensive. A short time ago, the president's personal attorney laid down a blanket defense.
People should keep in mind that the documents delivered to Congress today represent only the prosecutor's allegations. Allegations that we have been denied a chance to review. But we do know this: there is no basis for impeachment.
Sources tell CBS News the report runs about 500 pages. It is divided into a 25-page summary of Starr's findings, a 280-page narrative, and 140 pages detailing what Starr believes are impeachable offenses. The allegations include perjury, claiming that Mr. Clinton lied under oath when he denied the affair with Lewinsky during his deposition in the Paula Jones sexual harassment suit. Obstruction of justice, alleging that Mr. Clinton encouraged Lewinsky to get rid of evidence that was subpoenaed in that lawsuit. And abuse of the office of the presidency, a charge that suggests Mr. Clinton misused the White House and taxpayer money for 7 months while he defended a story that he knew was false. It will also be noted that Mr. Clinton lied to the public.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
As the report arrived, the president was in Florida with a new strategy. Full contrition, no attack on Starr. He spoke of a boy he met earlier in the day.
He said, Mr. President, I want to grow up to be president. I want to be a president like you. And I said, I thought, I want to be able to conduct my life and my presidency so that all the parents of the country could feel good if their children were able to say that again. I'll never forget that little boy, and it's a big guide for me. So I ask you for your understanding, for your forgiveness on this journey we're on.
Hours before, Mr. Clinton worked to slow the perilous loss of Democratic support on the Hill. He made a sorrowful apology to his party's leadership.
And what we saw was a father, a husband, a leader of our country who was contrite and who was very sorry for his actions.
Tonight, the Democratic leadership is asking the Republican majority to give the White House a copy of the report 24 hours before it is made public. This evening, a team is being assembled at the White House to manage the president's defense. Senior aides here say the president is determined to fight, not resign. Dan?
Scott Pelley. Adding to the president's troubles are the growing ranks of influential critics, including Democratic Senator Robert Byrd just today, who are senior members of the president's own party. How did it come to this, and where is it going? CBS News correspondent Eric Ingberg is tracking the changing mood of Washington.
There is not a sexual relationship. That is accurate.
Such behavior is not just inappropriate. It is immoral.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong.
After a 7-month roller coaster, the mood of Washington has suddenly hardened. Mr. Clinton is now regarded as a president who may be ousted by impeachment or resignation. A crisis mentality, says Don Baer, former White House communications chief, who is now a CBS News consultant, settled in the last few days.
People are having a hard time figuring out how to write the scenario by which the president comes out of this hole.
Even presidents have private lives.
Democratic Party faithful, like many Americans, were disappointed when the president's August speech to the nation lacked a plea for forgiveness many wanted. The president, long regarded as a brilliant politician, did not personally reach out to his own party's leaders to tell them what they wanted to hear.
Something in which he said to them, I'm sorry, I realize that I've jeopardized a lot of the work that we've done together. I am deeply stricken by this. What do I do to earn back your trust?
When Senator Joseph Lieberman took the floor last week to say the president's moral authority was damaged, the avalanche of defections from his own party began. 7 months ago, any suggestion that representatives would fill this chamber to debate impeachment was ridiculed as outlandish. As the Starr report lands at the Capitol, no one is scoffing anymore. Eric Ingberg, CBS News, Washington.
So what's going on behind the scenes? In a moment, I'll be back with correspondents Pelley and Schieffer for more context and perspective on today's extraordinary events. Also still to come, choosing your baby's gender, Wall Street on our CBS Market Watch, and the day after the historic home run.
You're not taking that laxative. It's got stimulants that may cause cramping.
Says who?
Says on the label. Don't you know nothing's better than Phillips Milk of Magnesia?
All these overnight laxatives have stimulants that may cause cramping. Phillips doesn't. It's the only one that's stimulant-free.
And you know Phillips.
She never takes a vacation.
Phillips, effective relief without harsh stimulants. And also try convenient liquid gels.
Something amazing happened here in Lafayette, Colorado.
Thanks to oatmeal. I ate it for 30 days.
100 of us did.
98 of us. 98 of us. 98 of us lowered our cholesterol.
Mine went down 17 points.
A bowl of Quaker oatmeal a day.
My cholesterol went down 15 points.
16 very proud points.
That's a lot of healthy hearts.
Mine went down 5.
27.
9 big ones.
That's some powerful oatmeal.
Can you believe it?
Quaker oatmeal warms you heart and soul.
Save some hot water. Too late! Honey, turn up the heat.
It is up.
Please let it be him. Let it be him. Please let it be him.
The gas-fueled complete heat system from Lennox.
It's him.
Virtually unlimited hot water and comfortable home heating in one unit. And it runs on economical natural gas, so it's super efficient.
Yes! The Lennox complete heat system. Not just heat, complete heat.
Yes. Clean natural gas. Think what you'll save.
Joining us now to talk about options facing President Clinton, Congress, and the country tonight and in the days ahead, three of the most experienced and knowledgeable reporters in the business. Let's go back to CBS's Bob Schieffer, Scott Pelley, and also CBS News analyst Gloria Borger. First, Bob Schieffer, you've talked to congressmen who were in this meeting with President Clinton this morning. What do they tell you went on in there?
Well, I'll tell you, this meeting this morning that the president had with these Democratic leaders of the House really sort of gives you a sense of the mood of the Congress as it reconvenes after its August vacation. These congressmen told the president, flatly, one of them did, that the president had lost the trust of the American people, that people just didn't believe him anymore, and that he had to find some way to reconnect. They also told him that he had to apologize in some fashion and show how sorry he was. Apparently he was extremely contrite in this meeting. These congressmen said, you've got to let the rest of the American people know just how sorry you are, and you must find a way to get them to trust you again.
Now that his report has gone to the Hill, does this mean the Starr investigation is over, Scott Pelley?
No, Dan, not at all. In fact, the grand jury will meet again tomorrow, hear from more witnesses. One of the outstanding questions is this. Some witnesses before the grand jury have told conflicting stories. And our sources tell us that Ken Starr is now trying to figure out whether anyone lied before his grand jury. We've been told by those sources that we should not rule out the possibility of indictments of some of the other figures in this investigation.
Gloria, we know that many members of the president's cabinet really feel personally stung by what he said to them and then turned around and said was untrue. Are they going to defend him again now? He's supposed to meet with some of them tomorrow.
That's right. They're supposed to have a cabinet meeting tomorrow, Dan. I've talked to some cabinet members today, and they describe themselves as depressed over and over again. Some of them say they're angry. One of them told me that he had actually thought about resigning, but then he said, somebody's got to get on with the business of governance around here, and it might as well be those of us in the cabinet. So we're going to stay in our jobs.
Gloria Borger, thanks. Straight ahead here on CBS, science conceives a new way to pick your baby's gender in advance.
Gee, that oatmeal was little. Yeah. You done with those sausages? You done with them hash browns? Sure. You need some help with that bacon? How'd I get heartburn? All I had was oatmeal. Cutting my lantern.
Are you kidding? Aluminum and magnesium? You want Tums. Tums has calcium.
Tums calcium knocks out heartburn fast, then goes to your bones to help keep them stronger, longer.
How about a bag of donuts for the road?
How about a bottle of Tums?
Fortunately for Millie, Dr. Espinosa was in the office early, while someone else was drafting the marketing plan to sell his home. At 11, he was making his rounds, instead of visiting his title company. At 1 p.m., he was giving Pam good news, instead of checking for disclosure documents. And by the time Dr. Espinosa wrote the day's last prescription, someone else was at his home meeting a prospective buyer. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Right, Seattle. I start my job on Monday. I want to do something about my retirement plan.
Okay, no problem.
Jane, Andy, please!
Sounds like your hands are pretty full there. Don't worry about this. A rollover specialist can handle all the transfer paperwork for you and make sure you avoid penalties. We can also help you with the new tax laws.
Oh, thanks. You've been a really big help.
Oh, good. Good luck with the move.
Two important stories to tell you tonight at 6. An 11-year-old raped while walking to school. Her neighbors helped capture the suspect. And the Oilers have a sellout. Details at 6.
Wall Street's interest rate rally turned out to be a one-day wonder after soaring a record 380 points Tuesday. On hopes of lower interest rates, the Dow fell back today, closing down 155 points, now back below 8,000. Most of the major stock markets in Asia and Europe were down as well. Well, picking and choosing your stocks is one thing, picking and choosing the gender of your child, quite another. Researchers in Virginia today report a new technique to significantly tip the odds for a boy or girl. As CBS's John Roberts reports, this gives birth to a whole new world of bundles of joy and bundles of new ethical questions.
Monique Collins had 2 children, both of them boys, but she'd always wanted a girl.
I was determined that I wanted pink in the house. I wanted dress up, long hair, fingernail polish, and I wanted to play dolls and play house.
So she tried a new technique that promised to dramatically increase her odds, a technique that led to the birth of her now 2-year-old daughter, Jessica. Sperm that produce boys contain a Y chromosome, girls an X, which is slightly bigger. It's that tiny size difference that allows for gender selection. Through a process called microsort, sperm is passed through a fluorescent dye, then illuminated by a laser. The larger X-bearing female sperm contain more dye and glow brighter, and can be separated from the Y-bearing sperm. The process was first applied to avoid sex-linked diseases like hemophilia, but now is available for family balancing.
At this point, it is limited to married couples wishing to try to have children of the opposite sex less represented in their family.
Sperm selection using a different technique has been available for several years in more than 50 fertility clinics across the country. Success rates have run at about 75%. But the research being presented today using this new technique has increased those success rates to almost 93%.
Success rates aside, medical ethicists question the whole idea of sex selection and point to studies that show if parents are given the choice, boys will win out.
If you're choosing gender and you're choosing a male child, which would be the predominant choice, you're in fact saying that the characteristic of being female is second best.
Ironically, this new technique appears to be more efficient at producing girls. But trials are underway to select for boys, and the company hasn't ruled out the possibility of one day letting parents choose the sex of their firstborn child. John Roberts, CBS News, Fairfax, Virginia.
On the weather map, it's a girl. Tropical storm Francis was born today in the Gulf of Mexico. The center of the storm is about 170 miles east of Brownsville, Texas. Tropical storm warnings are up from High Island, Texas to Tampico, Mexico. Heavy-duty American help arrived in Nova Scotia today for the Swissair crash recovery operation. A U.S. Navy ship with cranes strong enough to lift the fuselage from the ocean floor. Divers at the crash site were still trying today to locate the plane's cockpit voice recorder. The first wrongful death suit was filed today against Swissair and Boeing by former boxer Jake LaMotta. His 49-year-old son Joseph was one of the 229 people killed in the crash. All the victims were remembered today at a service in Nova Scotia, attended by their families, along with the President of Switzerland and the Prime Minister of Canada. Searchers are still trying to locate the bodies of many of the dead. As Russia went through another day without a working government, a few hundred communists rallied in Moscow, calling for a return to Soviet rule. Boris Yeltsin stayed behind closed doors, but reports say he may now turn to a compromised nominee for prime minister, possibly a Soviet-era official who will be acceptable to the communists in Parliament. U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright fired back today at critics who say that she's gone soft on Saddam Hussein. She said it is not true that the U.S. is now backing away from tough UN inspections of Iraq's weapon sites.
In recent weeks, some in Washington have suggested that the United States has not done enough to support the UN inspectors. It has even been suggested that we've tried to prevent UNSCOM from doing its job. The critics are sincere. We are, after all, on the same side, but they are sincerely wrong.
And late today, the UN Security Council voted to punish Iraq for halting UN inspections. It voted to suspend periodic reviews of UN trade sanctions, essentially leaving no way for Iraq to have those sanctions lifted. More political turmoil and violence today in Cambodia. Several people were wounded as police attacked demonstrators, including Buddhist monks. They charged the government won recent elections through fraud and intimidation. And a bizarre spectacle today in famine-racked North Korea. the world's last Stalinist dictatorship, staged a mass demonstration for its 50th anniversary, with leader Kim Jong-il applauding thousands of goose-stepping soldiers.
This week, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol has no van to drive and no checks to deliver. Because this week, Publishers Clearinghouse is putting thousands of real checks right in the mail. If you get an envelope with this green star, open it and you can find a real check for $100,000 that you can take right to the bank. So this week, the Prize Patrol will have to find something else to do.
Yes. Nice one.
Watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
Charlie, you know how we're always trying to find something to watch?
Yeah?
Well, now we can get Prime Star satellite TV installed for just $49.
Ooh.
Hey, guys!
Oh, no.
Or we can get it installed on 2 TVs for just $99.
Who asked you? $49 installed, Chuck.
Sports here, movies there.
Let's get it.
Okay! He's gonna get it! All right!
Prime Star, $49 on one TV, $99 on two. Call 1-800-PRIME-STAR or visit your local Radio Shack.
The average workday lasts longer than a few hours, but the average pain reliever may work a few hours, then quit. Aleve works all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that. 2 pills, all-day relief, works for me.
Anne Klein Eyewear by Luxottica. What do you want people to see?
I want you to see fearlessness.
The unexpected.
I want you to see you don't need words to make a statement.
Let them see you in Anne Klein Eyewear by Luxottica.
Overactive bladder.
That strong, sudden urge.
Having to go so often. The fear of wedding accidents.
If you're one of the millions who live with some of these symptoms, there's something you should know. Overactive bladder isn't normal at any age, and your doctor has treatments that can help.
Need a break?
I can wait.
These treatments can help reduce the symptoms of an overactive bladder.
You want to go back?
In a while.
Overactive bladder isn't normal at any age, so talk to your doctor today about treatments that can help.
5 people created one little girl, but legally she's an orphan. Will she lose the only parent she's ever known? Who's My Mommy? 48 Hours, Thursday.
Duke University researchers report a possible new line of attack against type 2 diabetes affecting millions of American adults. In tests on laboratory animals, they were able to completely reverse and control this type of diabetes just by feeding the animals a very low-fat diet. This was the first research to show that just cutting dietary fat alone could have this effect even without weight loss. This was moving day for a movie star. Keiko, the killer whale of Free Willy fame, was lifted out of a tank at the Oregon Coast Aquarium and trucked to the airport for a flight to Iceland, where he was captured 19 years ago. Trainers will spend 2 years preparing the 10,000-pound whale for possible release into the open ocean. It's a sure bet another rather large celebrity will be relocating one day to a national shrine. Some of his personal effects were sent ahead, as CBS's Bob McNamara reports.
In Cooperstown, New York today, Mark McGwire's uniform, his bat, and the ball he hit into history were unpacked at baseball's Hall of Fame and prepared for public display. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, the public put on its own display, continuing the party that started here last night, seconds after McGwire stepped to the plate.
Down the left field line, is it enough? Gone! There it is! 62! Touch first, Mark! You are the new single-season home run king!
It was a sweet, sweet run around the bases.
It was a moment McGwire shared with his town and his team, with his son Matt, and his closest competitor, Sammy Sosa of the Cubs.
Dad, did you see it? I cried like a baby.
It was a storybook ending. And for Americans grown weary of Washington's scandal and too worried to watch the stock market, these numbers, this moment, brought relief and finally a reason to believe.
I knew tonight was going to be the night. And I can honestly now say I can rest my bat alongside Roger Maris's bat in the Hall of Fame, and I'm damn proud of it.
Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it.
37 years ago, another home run made history. But baseball turned its back on Roger Maris. Last night, Maris finally made it home, along with Mark McGwire. who climbed into the stands and hugged the Maris family. Baseball's present, embracing its past, in this summer when suddenly the game seems born again. Bob McNamara, CBS News, St. Louis.
If you wear store brand undergarments, here's important news from Depend.
Lunchtime? I can't. I've got too much to do. Nonsense. You're going. But my hair. I'll do it in the car.
Only Depend has Absorblock for the best Depend protection against leaks. Leading store brand undergarments are 50% more likely to leak than Depend.
June Allison.
Depend, because you've got a lot of living to do.
For an enjoyable weekend, avoid things like alarm clocks. Instead, grab a big Grand Cinnamon Roll.
What better way to unwind than by enjoying a hot, fresh Grand Cinnamon Roll?
They're not just big, they're grands.
I'm 67 years old and I may bend, but I never break.
Twin Lab Joint Fuel nutritionally supports healthy joint and bone function and helps you do the things you love. At GNC and other health food stores.
Introducing real milk chocolate, chewy caramel, and crunchy nuggets in a scrumptiously delicious new bar, fortified with antioxidants, bone-building calcium, and essential proteins. The delicious, nutritious new Boost Bar. Get your recommended daily allowance of chocolate crunch.
Did you know mosquitoes are attracted to moisture, body heat, and movement? Did you know you can catch poison ivy if unwashed clothing is worn a year after contact? And did you know Cortisone 10 penetrates skin to stop the itch and help heal poison ivy and insect bites? Among these, it's the only one with the medicine doctors recommend most to stop itching and help heal. So this summer when you itch, remember the power of 10. Cortisone 10. Powerful itch relief for the power to heal.
Updating today's top story around the world and looking ahead, Ken Starr's report on possible impeachment offenses by President Clinton has gone to Congress. Mr. Clinton meets with Senate Democrats tomorrow, also with his cabinet. A prayer breakfast is scheduled for Friday morning as part of the president's apology offensive. Congressional leaders will now set rules on dealing with Starr's report and releasing the findings. Talk that Hillary Clinton possibly will give a speech in her husband's defense remains just that, talk, not confirmed. CBS Evening News will be in the nation's capital tomorrow to bring you the latest. Bryant Gumbel will have much on President Clinton and the Starr report, plus other stories on tonight's Public Eye. Here's Bryant with a preview.
It's a hazard of the open road that's both lethal and more commonplace than you might think. It's called truck underride, a polite description that masks a terrible way to die. A Public Eye investigation tonight.
For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
CBS.com for news 24 hours a day. Experience CBS.
I'm Dan McDonald reporting.